What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla stock and the overall market. I'm going to break down some very important things that just came out involving the news for Tesla and some very important supports I'm going to be watching for it when it comes to the next couple of weeks for Tesla, the next couple of trading days as well. But before I begin things up, all this information, before I talk about what these supports and important levels are, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very, very soon. Anyways, now let's break down what's going on with Tesla. Tesla, unfortunately, is looking very bearish because if we zoom out of the charts, if you just look at it without any indicators, just look at what this thing has been doing ever since Tesla announced its deliveries. Okay, it's been on a very, very strong downtrend. In fact, it started downtrending a little bit before deliveries even came out, which suggests that maybe someone knew something or who knows what. Tesla used to be at 265 a share back on December 28th. Then this thing started to sell off. But as recent as like January 2nd, right? Tesla was still in the 250s. So it was still pretty high up there in the 250s as recent as 2024 started. Since then, it's been slowly declining after bad news after bad news after bad news. It also was underperforming relative to the market ever since its deliveries came out. So Tesla is a stock that is subjected to very, very high levels of expectations. And because Tesla's deliveries were not necessarily like just absolute beats, they didn't absolutely smash record deliveries, they just beat them by tight margins. That wasn't really enough to really wow a lot of these very picky investors. And that caused Tesla to start selling off a bit. There's also a level of manipulation in the stock. You can't forget about that and all these different factors. And then since then, we've been getting a lot of bad news. Okay, there was bad news that came out involving, some issues involving one of the robots, and the list goes on. There was more bad news involving the Cybertruck. All this negative stuff started coming out from the media. There was news about Elon Musk taking substances that came out. That was bad news as well. Some articles were saying that, even though Musk denied it. And then we ended up seeing the Tesla board getting involved, talking about potential repercussions, and the list goes on. That happened over the last couple of days. And then Tesla was still, holding up in the 230s, almost at 240. So it wasn't that bad just a couple of days ago. It wasn't that bad of a sell off. It started to sell off a lot more aggressively in the last couple of days because even more bad pieces of news came out, which became more aggressive and more significant for Tesla. So some of the bad news that came out involved Hertz. Hertz basically announced that they're going to be selling a lot of their Teslas, and they're basically going to be replacing them with some gas-powered cars to meet their consumer demands. And then there were more bad pieces of news involving all of this. I just want to be honest with everyone. The first piece of news that was a little negative is the fact that they have rising labor costs. So Tesla announced that they're going to be raising the wages for a lot of their production workers, and that was a little concerning for investors. So here's the thing: I'm super super happy for the production workers. I think they deserve good pay. They're very hardworking, incredibly assiduous, and I have their empathy and sympathy. Right. So from that view, it's great in some ways. It's still great in some ways, but the problem is from a business perspective. When you look at the way businesses are run, you have to look at everything as a cost, unfortunately, right? Not just things on paper, but also decisions, what the CEO does. There are so many unknown costs out there, so many opportunity costs. So, with that being said, this news about the rising labor costs and Tesla raising, the wages led to some concerns amongst investors about Tesla's margins and how Tesla's going to afford this and this and that. It led to some concerns, and that was a little bit negative for Tesla. Started selling off. Then we got some more bad news about the Red Sea delays that were going on. That was pretty negative as well. There's a lot of tensions going on near the Red Sea, and this led to basically a lot of these Tesla components being delayed in terms of transport. So, because of that, Tesla's saying that that's the reason why they have to delay a lot of their production facilities. They have to basically suspend most production in its factory in Germany, basically, from January 29th through February 11th. And that's very, very important. Global trade has been disrupted thanks to this event. So this is kind of negative for Tesla. Supply chains have been disrupted to some extent, and analysts are basically saying that Tesla could produce about 5,000 to 7,000 vehicles per week. That's implying about 10,000 to 14,000 of their deliveries that could be actually affected by this. And this is actually for just the German plants, the numbers I just called out. So that's a little bit negative. This could affect Tesla's supply chain and things like that. So we want to be very careful with this. So, excuse me, sorry guys. That's a little bit negative. There's also some new news that came out. I actually went over all of this already, but I just want to review all of this. So, more news came out in China. Tesla's basically going to be cutting prices for the Model 3 sedan and the Model Y SUV. The Model 3 is going to see a 5.9% cut in China. Model Y is going to see a 2.8% cut. And this is amongst higher competition, potential slowing demand, and more efforts by Tesla to try to incentivize more competition and to get more sales up as demand is slowing. So this is some negative news. This is leading to some more concerns amongst investors about China, the competition over there, some hardships that are going on, and the list goes on. This also relates to that of the USA because in the US there's fears about a recession and slowing demand as Tesla's been cutting prices like crazy. But this has less to do with just that, at least as of right now, and more to do with the current macroeconomic effects, which is something that Elon Musk and the Tesla board have been warning a lot of us about. So basically, when interest rates are up in this high interest rate environments relative to before, the costs for Tesla go up basically. So Tesla's trying to offset that by cutting prices, but by doing so, their margins are getting affected by this. And this is leading to some concerns amongst investors, not the best for earnings. Unfortunately, that is the truth. Don't forget that China makes up a big sector out of Tesla's sales. So if they're cutting prices in China, it's going to affect a large fleet of their deliveries. So once again, guys, a lot of bad news has been coming out for Tesla. It's the honest truth. I have to be honest with everyone. And there could be more news coming out because of the current macroeconomic environment. The Fed has been raising rates for quite some time. It's been many months. It's been about a year, basically, almost a year. But if anything, with all of these new rate hikes from the Fed that have been going on, the effects of the rate hikes take time to make their way into the economy. So with them taking their time, we're finally starting to see the effects of them on Tesla. It's really showing right now. It's hurting Tesla, and their margins are just taking a big hit. Now, is this the end of the world? Should we be panicking? What do I think about this? Here's my view. I am not scared. I am not worried whatsoever. I'm honestly completely indifferent right now. I am not scared seeing Tesla dropping. I am not worried whatsoever. In fact, I'm very excited about some big opportunities that are coming. Let me show you. So, Tesla has this support right here. If you look at the weekly time frame and we basically go to, let me actually switch over to, let me fix one thing, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm going to switch over to our moving averages right here. You will see that Tesla has support at the weekly 200 moving average. Okay. That happens to be around 217.5. Today, Tesla was kind of shuffling around that area, but it managed to hold above this. But the weekly looks very weak, so is the daily and the 4 hour on Tesla, which suggests that there could be more downside. Tesla's trying to hold this, so we'll see if this holds. This is a critical support at this 217.5 area. If Tesla closes below that, which is still a big risk, and there's a very high probability it's going to happen looking at how weak it's looking. If that fails us, there's a very good chance we could see Tesla get very close to 200. Unfortunately, it is a real possibility. That's where our 200 EMA happens to be. But here's the thing, and this is what makes me very different from many others. I know that there are a lot of people that are just like, let me just show you on here. They're going on Tesla. They're saying that, oh, when you look at the share price of Tesla, we have a giant head and shoulders. It's going to crash. I don't solely trade based off of those, at least for now. So if you look at Tesla, let me just show you what people are referring to. So like right here, you could argue that this looks like a slanted head and shoulders, right? Just somewhat slanted. We have like this left shoulder here. We have the head up here and then the right shoulder forming. People are arguing that maybe they're right. Maybe it's going to tank. But here's how I see it. I want to be very objective and truthful. I'm not going to worry about Tesla going to $80 until we lose 150. And I'm not going to worry about 150 until we lose 180. I'm not going to worry about 180 until we lose 200. You understand what I'm saying? It hasn't lost 217.5 yet. It may lose it soon, though it looks like it will. But our next target is 200. It hasn't lost 200 yet. So why on earth are we turning into extreme bears crying about 150, 120 right now, and we haven't even lost 200 yet? And that's kind of like the way I'm kind of going about this. I don't care. I don't want Tesla to just drop straight down to like 100, just buy everything, just wish it goes up to 300. That's not how the market works. Tesla is going to go likely shuffle around, for example, 220, then 215, 200, 195, 190. It's going to slowly drop to these different levels. It may take a couple of days, right? For example, that's why the strategy I implement is just dollar cost averaging. The more it drops, I just slowly start buying in, not financial advice. And I've been buying these dips. It's very nice. I'll keep buying the more dips. I'm very excited to do so and bring my averages down over time. But basically, there is a risk of downside. Okay. But I'm not worried about 150, 120 until we get below at least 180. I'm not really worried about 180 until we break below 200. So that's kind of like the way I see it. The last time we hit the weekly 200 EMA, this thing actually bounced and saw a massive run. So we will see if this thing tries to bounce or not. Be very, very careful, if anything. But I do want to note that if we lose the weekly 200 moving average, we're going to be looking for a bigger drop. If we do end up dropping hard, we're going to be approaching this 200 area. That's going to be the 200 EMA as our critical support. Now, I have even more tight levels. Basically, I can actually show you them. Just for more detail, this falling wedge has developed into like a falling channel. Let me just fix the chart for 1 second, guys. It looks bearish. It really does look bearish. It favors the bears a bit more. We need to see this thing try to break and hold above not just 220, but I want to see 225 plus for this thing to favor the bulls. Break above this resistance up here now, because we got this rejection and a failed breakout attempt at 225 today, right? So, with that being said, Tesla failed to get the breakouts. It's looking very weak, and there's a risk of more downside because of all this bad piece of news, all these bad pieces of news. Excuse me. So, what's my point in saying all of this? It's okay. Do not be too fearful. Be greedy when others are fearful. Let everyone else panic and start selling. Well, I'll buy the shares easily for these lower prices. I'll keep buying them. The more it drops, I'll keep buying. I'm okay with that because I know in the long term it's going to break all time highs. I know possibly by the end of this year, if not by early next year, it's going to be closer to all time highs. I still believe that, guys. And you're going to be very surprised by how much this thing could run. All right. So for now, for the short term, for the next few months, could there be downside for Tesla? Yes. Could the recession affect Tesla negatively? Yes. Because we're not really seeing SPY and the QQQ and these others really selling off that hard. Tesla's relatively weak. So when these things start selling, if they do start selling by as we approach March, that could even drag Tesla down lower. That's okay with me. I'll be buying the dips again because I know long term is bright. Never forget about their autonomous technology. Don't forget about their sales, their deliveries, what Kathy Wood has been saying about AI. Don't forget about their energy storage business. The company's future is in extremely bright hands. Don't bet against Elon Musk. Okay? The long term history has shown when you bet against Elon Musk, it tends to not work out. Think whatever you want about him. I completely respect and understand your opinion. People could hate him. That's completely fine with me. People could dislike him. It's fine. But don't bet against the guy because the long term for Tesla is bright. I'm very confident in its future. And I just see another buying opportunity the more this thing drops. So those are the supports I'm watching for, at least for like the next like few weeks. Could Tesla drop to lower levels? It sure can, but I'm not necessarily going to give up on the company. I'm just seeing a big opportunity. Hopefully, this video is helpful. Let them throw as much bad news about Tesla as they want out in the media. Let them bash the company down. All I see is a very, very great stock that's on sale. That's all I see from this. I'm very excited about this. And I'm thinking about the long term. The long term is still very bright nonetheless. All right. So hopefully this video is giving you guys more hope. Hopefully this video is helping you guys out. Have a great day and peace out.